you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through? But that's a doggone season that he won't try something new. A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who brings the job a fresh new point of view. Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. Cause it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy.
And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. And it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answered straight, a man who's always fair? We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you cast your vote for Kennedy, and the change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Welcome from my humble second bedroom here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these apparently now ever-expanding United States, Western Hemisphere, North American continent, on this planet Earth, the only one we have. Third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This is TKE Tonight, the Kennedy Effect tonight for the 4th of January 2025. A very, very special hello to our Hot 101 family. Now, if you've been a fan, a follower, a listener, I don't want to say a fan. I don't know that I have fans. I have a fan in this room, but I don't know to keep me cool in the summer. But I don't know if I have fans as in fanatics. I have some stalkers, and I have some people who threaten to kill me on occasion, but not. I don't know if I have actual fans. But to our friends and family at Hot 101, a very special welcome to you as well. Now, if you are a part of our Sunday program, you know that we are usually with you every Sunday talking politics and history, trying to educate, tell the truth about things. This is the first time since we have started our weeknight program that Hot 101 has been part of the mix here, has been part of the group. We appreciate you. We welcome you. Thank you for being here. If you're used to our Sunday program, we don't do 3 hours during the week. It's a quick 1 hour show, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Sundays, we still do from 6 to 9. I'll get into that in a minute. But welcome to our Hot101.net family here on a Tuesday, February 4th, here in the Lehigh Valley. You are watching and listening to TKE Tonight, the Kennedy Effect tonight, for the 4th of February, 2025. We are live right now on the Facebook pages of Ghost Claw Productions, Our Revolution Pennsylvania, the TCP Media Group, and Hot101.net. We are live on my personal Facebook, Jeff Kennedy, as well as our home group Facebook page for all things that surround our program, That Other Side of Information. We're also live on our YouTube channel right now, which is also called That Other Side of Information. We are live on Twitch, Jeff Kennedy Talk Host. We are live on LinkedIn, Jeff Kennedy as well. The audio of the program blasts around the globe, as I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, on 2 global internet radio stations. One of the very first, one, the most recent. Let's start with the very first, hot101.net. If you don't know how to listen to hot101.net, let me tell you yet again, as I tell you every program, you go to our main website, www.hot101.net. Hot, H-O-T, 101.net. But you don't need the website to listen. You can listen through the website, and you can listen there completely 100% for free. As soon as the website loads and opens, you are listening, period. It's that simple. But you can also use our apps, Apple App Store for Apple devices, the Google Play Store for Android devices, and the TuneIn radio app. Go to the search bar, type in hot101.net. You are listening. You can Bluetooth it to headphones and speakers and earbuds. You can Bluetooth it in the car, and you can tell Alexa to play hot101.net. The other, of course, the station that I am beyond humbled and proud to be part owner of, and that is GCPR.live, GCPR.live, GhostClawProductions.live, GCPR.live. You can go to our website, GCPR.live. When it loads, push the play button, and you're listening. That's it. Free. No credit card, no blood sample. Don't have to sell a kidney. Nobody would want my kidneys anyway. They're full of stones. But you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to sign over your mortgage, sign over your firstborn, none of that. Go to our website, GCPR, Ghost Club Productions Radio, GCPR.live. There's a play button right there. Hit it, and you're listening for free, period, end of story. Very, very simple. But also at our website, you can find out about our programs, our hosts. You can find bios, descriptions of our shows, and, of course, our live broadcast schedule for all 7 days of the week. How, Jeff, can you be on 2 different radio stations and pump them both? There's a lot of hours in a week, folks. There's a lot of hours in a week. I don't know what the math is, 24 times 7. Someone will do that for me and put it in the chat, because if I try to do it, I will stop talking. But there's a lot of, I think it's 128 hours. Does that work out to? No, got to be 148. No. I don't know. I'm lost. Regardless, there's a lot of hours in a week. Plenty of days, plenty of time, plenty of hours to listen to both. You need music? Go to Hot 101. You want talk about politics, about life, about computers, about the mix of religion and politics, about trans issues, about model building. It's all at GCPR. There's time for both. Let's get in. I think I have the phone turned on. I think. I do have the phone turned on. I do. So we can take phone calls. But let's get on. Let me say a special hello, by the way. 2 more special hellos. Sorry. 2 more. George is in the chat. Hello to George. This coming weekend, George and I will be working on getting the new computer set up and functional, at which point George should actually be able to, let me find some wood to knock on, should actually be able to join us again on screen and talk to you and interact with you, as well as produce the program and monitor the chat, as he always does and has done since day one. So we're working on that this weekend. And another special hello to, we just reviewed some analytics at GCPR. I already know that Hot 101 has listeners outside the United States. GCPR does as well. In fact, we actually have quite a substantial listenership in Great Britain. So to all of my mates in the UK, hello and welcome. And to anybody who's listening to us, regardless of whether it's Hot 101, Facebook, YouTube, GCPR, wherever it might be, if you're listening and tuning in from outside the United States, a very, very special hello and welcome and thank you to you. If you would be so inclined, please feel free to drop a name in the chat if you're on the social medias and let us know where you're listening from. We always enjoy hearing about that. So a special hello. Special welcome to Hot 101. Great and deep thanks to my dear friend George there for being in the chat and for supporting and being part of our program. He is our executive producer, And, of course, to our listeners and viewers outside the United States. Of course, we love everybody in the United States as well, but special hello to the ones outside the United States taking us in. Let's get to the program, shall we? 8:12 p.m. Eastern Time on this Tuesday, February 4th, with TKE tonight. Did you know, by the way, that we're only 3 weeks into this Trump 2.0? Feels like a hell of a lot longer than that, doesn't it? But we're only 3 weeks in. And it seems as if every day some sort of history is being made. None of it for the good, none of it for the posterity of history, none of it for the good of the American people as a whole, or even in small groups, unless the small group is billionaires. Today was no different. Now, what I'd like to say, as a quick aside, I watched the joint press conference with Trump and felonious under indictment Prime Minister, seemingly Prime Minister for life of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. And remember, he's under indictment for bribery, for corruption, for influence peddling, for using government against his political enemies as well as business opposition of the people who own him, and who has perpetuated 2 wars now in Israel to stay out of court and to stay in power. And I knew that the press conference was taking place, but I wasn't going to watch it. MSNBC carried it live. Here's where the media has failed us. Where corporate media has failed us. I don't recall them carrying a joint press conference in the entire 4 years that Biden was in the White House. Like, not one. Could I be wrong about that? Of course, my memory is not perfect. I'm no better than any of you. I'm not smarter than any of you. None of it. I have more experience broadcasting with politics, but that doesn't make me smarter than any of you. I don't recall any media carrying joint press conferences with President Biden and another foreign leader. And remember, Netanyahu did visit this country while Biden was in office. So a quick aside, if something that terribly serious can be an aside, yet another demonstration of how the media, the corporate media, fails you, the American public, on a minute-by-minute basis. But we have to talk about, and now I wasn't watching the press conference, I wasn't going to watch the press conference, and then I got an alert on my phone from The Guardian, a news site that I might have to break down and start paying for. I have resisted it, and I've moved mostly to the Associated Press. But I just might have to start paying for The Guardian again. They put up a paywall, and it's a pretty damn restrictive one. You're allowed 24 articles, I think, in a 30-day period, which obviously works out to less than one a day. I still highly recommend The Guardian. It is a fantastic news site. They do tremendous journalism there, and they print nothing but truth. That said, there's my unsolicited commercial for Guardian. That said, as soon as the news alert came over, I switched to MSNBC, that I knew from having changed the channel moments before was covering the press conference live. And the banner headline on the bottom was that Trump states that the U.S. will own the Gaza Strip, that we will level it, that the 1.8 million remaining Gazans, and oh, by the way, before the most recent war with Israel started, there were over 2 million Gazans. Now it's about 1.8 million. Must relocate. Trump suggested either Egypt or Jordan. He hasn't discussed this with Egypt or Jordan. That was simply his suggestion. But that they will vacate Gaza. That the U.S. will empty the Gaza Strip, level it, and then redevelop it like some sort of piece of real estate. And Trump happened to talk about the wonderful seafront property that's available in the Gaza Strip for development. And that the Palestinians, the 1.8 million remaining Gazan Palestinians, maybe they could come back once the land is fully redeveloped, or maybe not. But that the United States would take ownership of the Gaza Strip. And if American troops were needed to enforce that ownership or to remove the Gazans, then we would consider that. Now, I just want to have a quick look at my iPad. Yes, it is February 4th, and it is 2025. All of this sounds very Austria 1938 to me. If you looked at the header for my program for this evening on Facebook, the header says, let me read it for you. Not that you couldn't read it, but I'll read it again. With fascism firmly rooted and spreading, the imperialistic expansion has begun. Who's ready to buy a beachside condo in Gaza? Anybody? Can anyone say Austria 1938? The Rhineland? Czechoslovakia? The Netherlands? So now, one of the things that Trump took a great deal of pride in, because he talked about it almost endlessly, is that during his 4 years in office, he did not start any new military conflicts. In fact, it was his administration, his first administration, that signed the agreement to withdraw from Afghanistan that President Biden had to adhere to. That was a Trump regime negotiated withdrawal. he doesn't seem to care so much about this, about not starting any new armed conflicts in 2.0, does he? Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, traveled to Panama today and warned the Panamanians that the U.S. will take control of this canal again. And if it takes troops to do it, so be it. Trump has not ruled out the use of troops to take Greenland from Denmark. Two NATO countries, the United States and Denmark. And now we're talking about owning. I don't know who we're buying it from, by the way. I suspect not the Palestinians. Are we buying it from Israel? I don't know who we're buying this land from. But now we're talking about owning Gaza and using troops to hold it and secure it if necessary. What history shows us, the Battle of the Bulge, the split between the Western and Eastern empires, the Eastern Empire actually taking over the Western Empire, is that when empires begin to fail and begin to collapse, especially from within, they will make a few last attempts to expand. The Battle of the Bulge, the Eastern Empire moving into the Western Empire's territory. Roman Empire, by the way, if you didn't know what I was talking about. Constantinople trying to reclaim Rome. Xerxes at Thermopylae in the 300. Is this what we're seeing with the United States now? A failing empire. And look, when you have over 800 military bases in 184 different countries, that's empire. Are we seeing the last gasps of empire? Or are we seeing a man in Trump and the people who own him as just deciding that what's yours is theirs, but what's theirs is theirs? There are vast mineral resources underneath the ice in Greenland. Musk wants it. The oil companies want it. The technology companies want it. Gaza, Trump's not wrong, to be honest with you. It has beautiful oceanfront. Well, it's not oceanfront, it's the Mediterranean Sea. It has beautiful seafront property. It has very temperate, wonderful weather. The historic sites of Israel can be reached within a pretty short bus ride. It could be a tourist haven. And if you're the Hilton Corporation or the Marriott Corporation or Island One or any of the timeshare companies that you might want to name, the casino companies, would they develop that property for tourism? Of course they would. They'd make a mint. Corporate imperialism with the security force being provided by the taxpayers of the United States and the military it employs. Can anyone say Austria 1938? Now, what Trump is proposing is illegal. He, of course, will say it's legal because he's commander-in-chief. The Supreme Court kind of ruled that it's okay, or at least he's immune from it because it's an official act, with the legality of official acts to be determined after the fact. So to all of you who might be listening and watching, are you in the military? Are you ready to be deployed to Gaza? Are you the parent of a soldier? Are you ready to have your son or daughter? Well, then again, Pete Hegseth hates women unless he can beat them and sexually assault them. So perhaps not women. Are you ready for your sons and nephews to be deployed to Gaza so that hotel companies and casino companies can build seafront hotels and strip malls and entertainment venues and casinos? Is that what America does? I thought Americans fought fascism. We defeated it twice in 2 world wars. Arguably, we defeated it in the American Revolution. We defeated it in the Civil War. Because the South was an oligarchy. It was essentially fascism, controlled by a few huge plantation owners and slaveholders. The United States has defeated fascism over and over and over again. We are now a fascist nation. Are we now going to go on the offense? George W. Bush broke that seal with his illegal invasion of Iraq. The United States never started conflicts in its history, but we sure as hell knew how to take up a fight and finish one. Is that now what we're going to be? The imperialistic, fascist United States expanding its territory through force around the globe, but not for freedom or democracy, but for profits of a few. Is that who we are now? It's not even so much that Trump said these things. It's the flippantness and just relaxed manner with which he said these things. Well, we're going to own it. We'll level everything there. And then we'll build again. It's a beautiful spot for hotels and casinos. He said that out loud. We want to make it a place where people all over the world can come and visit. Wants to build it, turn Gaza into another Las Vegas? Not that there's anything wrong with Vegas, by the way. I happen to think it's a terrible amount of fun. Does he want to turn it into another Orlando? Certainly nothing wrong with Orlando either. I happen to terribly enjoy it there. But we're going to displace 1.8 million people so a handful of developers can make billions on tourism. Is that who we are? Is that who we are now? Real? Are we no better than this? Is this who we are? I'd like to think that the answer is no. Let's remember, only 30% of the population voted for this. Trump is in the presidency again because 30% of the population, which was still more than the 30% of the population that voted for Vice President Harris. Remember, we're 49.5% to 48.7%. Trump has never broken 50% in any election or any popularity poll. Never broken 50. The number of people who voted for him as a percentage of the total population of this country is 30%. 3 out of 10. Is that what the 3 out of 10 want? You could hear Trumpers who supported him for the third time in 2024 say he kept us out of war. Well, now he's talking about starting 4 of them. None, by the way, against Russia or China, who are expanding. We want to make Canada part of the United States. We want to take Greenland. We want to take back the Panama Canal. And now apparently we own the Gaza Strip. Is this what you voted for? American imperialism? American fascist expansion at the cost of your sons, nephews, cousins. I didn't say daughters because, again, Pete Hegseth doesn't think women should be on the battlefield. But then again, if we're going to start 4 wars all over the freaking globe, we're probably going to need those women. We need cannon fodder. We need bodies to be shot at. Quick reset, and I want to ask you another series of questions to a very targeted audience, young folks. You are watching and listening to The Kennedy Effect, TKE, tonight, the 4th of February, 2025. We are live right now on the Facebook pages of Hot101.net, Ghost Claw Productions, the TCP Media Group, Our Revolution Pennsylvania, my own Facebook, Jeff Kennedy, and our home group Facebook page for our show, That Other Side of Information. That is also the name of our YouTube channel. If you ever miss any of our programs, or you can't listen to the entirety of the program, especially the big 3-hour Sunday program, YouTube, always the best place to go. YouTube.com/That Other Side of Information. The audio of the program blasts around the globe. Welcome. Ooh, my throat just went there. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our Hot101.net family. You will now be with us every time that we're on the air, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Hot101.net, our name is our web address. If you can connect to the internet, you can listen. If you can Bluetooth, you can Bluetooth it to anything. You can tell Alexa to play Hot101.net, Apple App Store and Google Play Store for Android, Hot101.net, HOT101.net, GCP, GCPR.live, my radio station, GCPR.live. Go to our website, www.gcpr.live. You can listen there for free. Following us from 9 p.m., the music returns on Hot101.net. On GCPR.live, Cold Dead Hands with Brett and Ben. Conversations with T. Nathan from 11. You can guarantee T. Nathan's going to have something to say about this. Thomas returns tomorrow morning with the sound of coffee. That's all on GCPR.live. Very special thank you to George for being in the chat and helping to produce and monitor the program. We will be working on the computer this weekend. No show on Super Bowl Sunday. 2/3 of the country watches the Super Bowl. They're not going to be watching me. No sense in being here for the 5 or so people that might be tuned in. Go enjoy the Super Bowl. You're going to need to unplug from the chaos that is happening in this country in this last 3 weeks. As we return to the topic at hand, let me ask another series of questions. We heard a lot during the presidential campaign from young people, first-time voters, second-time voters, college students, among the groups, who told us all that they could not support Vice President Harris because she didn't stand up enough to Israel. She didn't fight hard enough to cut off the arms to Israel and to save Palestinians. Anything on here? How you feeling now, kids? How are you feeling now? Look, I'm 55 and a half years old. I am not young. One of the great pleasures of my life, one of the great thoughts of comfort in my life, and I don't mean comfort like warm pajamas or a nice blanket, or I don't mean that kind of comfort. I mean comforting. One of the most comforting thoughts that I can have myself is that there are more days behind me than in front. So I don't mean or choose or want to sit here as the old man to say, get off my lawn, with the fishing hat, t-shirt, blue shorts, black socks with sock holder uppers. What do you call those things? Sock suspenders? I don't know what you call those things. That's not me. And that's not what I'm trying to do. But a measurable percentage. Kamala Harris got 29 million less. I think it's 29 million. George, if you can Google that, that'd be great. It's 29 million. That's way too many. Maybe it's 2.9 million. Less votes than Joe Biden. George hopefully will find me that number. My mind is blanking. I had that one memorized, and now I'm forgetting it. Millions of people voted for Joe Biden that did not vote for Kamala Harris. Some of those people voted for Trump. Some of them voted for Jill Stein or Cornel West. A good number of them stayed home. And one of the reasons that they said they couldn't support Vice President Harris is because the Biden administration didn't do enough to check Israel. Didn't do enough to support Palestinians. Why are we sending all of these arms to Israel without any conditions? How are you feeling now? Trump is talking about sending troops to the Gaza Strip and removing 1.8 million people. For all the young folks who were engaged and energetic and care, but didn't vote for Vice President Harris because you are unhappy about the war in Gaza. How the F are you feeling now? Are you ready to own a beachfront condo in Gaza? What do you think is going to happen to those 1.8 million people that you stayed home from voting to protest on behalf of? How are you feeling now? We can't go back in time. It can't be undone. He will be in the White House for the next 4 years, barring anything unforeseen, like the fact that a 79-year-old man who's morbidly obese finally keels over and dies. He will not be impeached. And if he is, he won't be convicted. He won't be removed. He's going to be here for at least 4 more years. The only saving grace that we might have is the congressional elections in 2 years. And I believe that those will take place. I can't guarantee you there will be another presidential election. I do think there will be a congressional election in 26. I don't think he can stop the vote that quickly. I don't. Will there be another presidential election? That's not exactly what I was looking for, George, but I understand. 49.9, 48.4, 1.5% difference, right? I was trying to find the number of people who voted for Biden that stayed home and didn't vote for Kamala Harris. But I'll have to Google that for the next show. Sometimes these thoughts come to me in the middle of a show. I'll get on a run and I'm like, I forgot to look that up. Or I really should look that up right this second, except that I'll stop talking if I did such a thing, which isn't exactly good radio. But you couldn't support Vice President Harris because she didn't do enough. What are you going to do now? How are you going to protest on behalf of the Palestinians? Will you carry banners to Gaza and stand alongside of the road when the U.S. military ushers 1.8 million Palestinians to different countries that don't want them and have not asked for them and have never wanted them? Trump said during this press conference, well, the Egyptians can take them. They don't want them. Remember, during the beginning of the Gazan war, the Biden administration had to damn near force the Egyptians to open a doorway in the wall that they had on the border with Gaza to allow medicines and food supplies into Gaza. The Egyptians built a wall between themselves and the Gazans. And somehow now, they're just going to take 1 million people, 500,000. They're just going to take them? Are you kidding? How are you going to protest vote this time, folks? Sometimes. And by the way, Democrats, independents, disaffected Republicans, anti-Trump Republicans, all told you. We realize you may not agree with the vice president on everything, but we know how bad the alternative is, Trump. Please don't sit this one out. You're going to regret it. You may have a stand on this one issue that you don't agree with the vice president on, but you agree with her on everything else. We're asking you for your support. We're asking you for your vote. We're asking you to help us save democracy. But you stayed home, or you voted for Jill Stein, or Robert F. Kennedy Jr., or Cornel West, or you voted for Trump. Well, now your brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and cousins can go help build luxury hotels and provide security for said on the Gaza Strip. Folks, do you realize how monumental this is? I'm not sure if you can wrap your heads around it. I was watching Von Hilliard, Alex Wagner, and Joy Reid on kind of the post wrap-up of this press conference. And Von Hilliard saying, my phone is exploding right now. I don't think people can fully comprehend what just happened. President of the United States said we're going to take ownership of a piece of land occupied by just under 2 million people, and that those people are going to have to move so that the land can be flattened for redevelopment. Again, and I see a lot of new names on the Facebook, by the way. I want to say welcome to Kelly. Steve Barron, welcome. Randall, of course, is here. I thought I saw Donna earlier. I might be wrong. Chrissy, welcome home. I'm forgetting. I thought I saw Donna. I guess I didn't see Donna. I thought I saw, but some new names here, which is always exciting. Can you really wrap your head around what just happened tonight? And here's the other part. Project 2025 doesn't even talk about imperialistic expansionism in the way that Trump seems to have now embraced it. One of the things that Project 2025 does talk about is the elimination of the Department of Education. We saw reporting today that the administration has prepared an executive order closing the Department of Education. Not examining the closing of it, but closing it. By the way, it's illegal. It is unconstitutional. Congress created the Department of Education to be administered by the executive branch in the same way that the Department of Treasury, Department of Defense, Department of Energy, in the same way that they are. Only Congress can close it. Has Trump showed any regard for the law so far in this 3 weeks? Would anybody be surprised if he signed this executive order tonight, tomorrow, perhaps over the weekend, and then on Monday morning there were chains on the front doors of the Department of Education locking out all the employees? Would anybody be shocked by that now? When fellow Democrats come to me and say, what is the messaging? How do we reach people? Where are we missing in the messaging battle? Part of the messaging has to be, we told you so. Closing the Department of Education, right out of the pages of Project 2025, we told you so. You thought Trump was going to give you tax cuts. First off, that was never happening. Unless you're a billionaire. Unless you're part of the economic top 1%. But let's set that aside. You thought Trump was going to give you tax cuts. What the frack do you think is going to happen to your property taxes when the Department of Education goes away? Your property taxes to make up the money that comes from the federal government. Your property taxes could double, they could triple, they could quadruple. You will see massive teacher layoffs, which, by the way, Trumpists and fascists want because they're unionized. And they're heavy donators to the Democratic Party. So if we can crush all the teacher unions, we further damage democracy. And all of this was right in front of you. They told you what they were going to do. Project 2025 is in print. You can read it. It's 912 pages. It's a heavy lift. Trump is mentioned in it by name, by the way, over 300 times, an average of one every 3 pages. trying to shutter USAID, closing the Department of Education. Right out of Project 2025. There was a tiny bit of hope today. Believe me, it's a thread. Thin as a human hair. Trump's own Justice Department. And by the way, while we have been on the air, Pam Bondi was confirmed as Attorney General. So we'll see if this dies a quick death as well. Trump's own Department of Justice is actually looking into criminalities by Elon Musk and the half dozen or so 19 to 22-year-olds that broke into USAID and the Treasury Department and stole all of your information. The Justice Department is doing the beginnings of looking into this as an illegality. Now, it'll be interesting to see if Pam Bondi shuts all that down, because she made it pretty clear. She did actually a pretty masterful job of word salading the Senate during her confirmation hearings that she would actually follow the law and not what Trump ordered her to do. I have absolutely no faith in that, and you should not either. But we'll have to see. But in these very perilous times, at least there was that tiny thread of hope today, that at least some bit of the law might yet still live and breathe. I had posted in the Facebook group, gosh, I would be really hard-pressed to find it now. It wasn't that long ago. Actually, you know what? I think I can find it really quick. I hope. If I can Google the right thing, I should be able to find it. And I'm sorry that I'm doing this live on air, but I need to make a point. On January 28th, the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists set the doomsday clock to 89 seconds before midnight. In setting the clock 1 second closer to midnight, the Science and Security Board sends a stark signal, because the world is already perilously close to the precipice. A move of even a single second should be taken as an indication of extreme danger and an unmistakable warning that every second of delay in reversing course increases the probability of global disaster. Now, they moved us closer to midnight. Midnight on the doomsday clock is the end of civilization. It is global catastrophe. It is the end. Well, they moved us 1 second closer to midnight, and they did so. Their justifications, not that they need it, for doing so is that the combination of the talk of American expansionism, which again now at this point is oligarchical fascist expansionism, the United States removing itself from the Paris Climate Accords, the World Health Organization, further increasing the possibility of that kind of global catastrophe. And by the way, there's an article that I didn't get to that one of the leading climate scientists on the planet said it's already too late. There's nothing we can do to stop it at this point. It's just a matter of who survives, how much wildlife survives. The planet is permanently changed. And while that change continues, there is no going back. There is no stopping it now. So we're 89 seconds from midnight. Less than a minute and a half from midnight, with midnight being the end of civilization. The press conference that happened tonight, if I was those scientists, I'd probably move us a minute. I'd probably take away the half, I'd probably 89 seconds. I would take away the 29 seconds, and I'd move us a minute closer to midnight. Global climate change, overpopulation, the United States now ignoring global climate change and the possibilities of a new pandemic. By the way, how much have you heard about bird flu? Welcome to one of the epicenters of it, right here in the Lehigh Valley. How much have we heard about it? I mean, this administration's not going to tell you. 89 seconds to midnight. I'd probably move it to 60 seconds. Fascistic expansionism, global climate change, a pandemic brewing. And what did we hear from the president? Lovely seaside territory, lovely seaside, perfect places for hotels and redevelopment and tourism. Meanwhile, we're going to close the Department of Education. Good luck educating your kids when your public school shuts down. 9 p.m., that's about all the time we have for tonight. We return Thursday from 8 p.m. Following us immediately on GCPR, Cold Dead Hands, Conversations with T. Nathan from 11. I have to assume he's going to be talking about this today. Thomas returns tomorrow morning from 8. The music returns on Hot 101. For everyone at hot101.net, DJ Lex, DJ Earl, and the entire hot101.net family. For everyone at GCPR, Thomas, Gambit, Gilbert, Ben, Brett, George, everybody at GCPR. For everyone that surrounds the Kennedy Effect, that's George, Lynn, Kristen, Daisy the dog, and of course April Riddick. I'm Jeff Kennedy. We've done about all the damage we can do for one night. We return on Thursday. We will see you then. For our hot101.net audience, the music returns right now. For our GCPR.live audience, Cold Dead Hands starts